When you get hold of the Nintendo Entertainment System. When you master Rob the Video Robot and meet the challenge of Gyromite. When you shoot the light-sensing Zapper. When you play the system with so many arcade hits, you're playing with power. The Nintendo Entertainment System Deluxe Set. Batteries not included. Super Mario Brothers and other games sold separately.
For the second episode of Gameplay Classics, I wanted to go back to a system and game that were a big part in saving video games. The Nintendo Entertainment System, also called the NES or Nintendo, is an 8-bit video game console that was released by Nintendo. The game series that defined the console, and almost every Nintendo console since the NES, is Super Mario Bros. This iconic character is the poster boy for video games. After the video game crash of 1983, everyone thought that video games were done. At the time, it was believed that video games were just a fad, and like disco, it came and went. While this was going on in North America, in Japan, gaming was still a huge business. Nintendo, which is a Japanese company, looked over to North America and set their sights on bringing gaming back to these shores. Nintendo started negotiations with Atari to release the console under Atari's name. Atari at that time was a well-known company in North America, while Nintendo was relatively unknown. After the negotiations came to a halt, Nintendo decided to release the console themselves. The NES was then released to limited American markets, starting in New York City on October 18, 1985, followed by a full release in February of 1986. At the time, the console was released in two different bundles, the Control Deck, priced at $130, and the Deluxe Set, which included Rob the Robot, an NES Zapper, and two games, Duck Hunt and Gyromite, and that console was priced at $250. Later on in the console's life cycle, Nintendo released the NES Action Set, which replaced the Deluxe Set and included the NES Zapper, two controllers, and a 2-in-1 game card with Super Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt. There are many other bundles offered by Nintendo, but the Action Set was the one that I got as a kid, and it came with a game that changed my expectation on what games could be, Super Mario Bros. A big problem with playing games on the NES is getting the games to start. Some of you younger players might be thinking that this is a problem because the system is over 25 years old. But that's not the case. The console had problems from early on in its life cycle. I still remember having to blow the dust out of the cartridge, and sometimes that still didn't work. The one trick I found to work most of the time is something that's very simple. When you put the cartridge in the console and turn it on, wiggle the cartridge back and forth until you get a picture. Then hit the reset button, and there you go. You're playing some classics. I think most people know this trick, and if you don't, I hope this helps you enjoy your console. Super Mario Bros. Was not Mario's first game. He had seen releases in the arcade versions of Donkey Kong in 1981. At that time, he was known as Jumpman, and was not a plumber, but a carpenter. He then reappeared in Donkey Kong Jr. in 1982, only this time playing the part of the villain. Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. became hits, and were ported to home consoles like the Atari 2600 and many others. Nintendo continued to use Jumpman with a spin-off in 1983, while also giving him a new name and occupation. Mario Bros. Was released later that year in arcades. The new game introduced players to his brother, Luigi, and was known for allowing two players to play simultaneously. Mario and Luigi became plumbers, whose jobs are to exterminate the various enemies that come out of pipes. In my opinion, the game that would cement Mario as an icon has to be Super Mario Bros. The game has spawned many sequels and as a franchise continues to this day. Super Mario Bros. Has become a timeless classic and an icon since the release of this amazing game. Nearly everyone knows who Mario is, gamer or not. My 7-year-old son knows Mario more than he knows Mickey Mouse. That is the power of this great character. Mario's popularity soared to the point where Mario had his own cereal, Saturday morning cartoon show, action figures, and he has been part of many Happy Meals at McDonald's.
Big! And my magic box makes us lunch.
What's in McDonald's Happy Meal? One of 4 Nintendo Super Mario Bros. 3 toys. A Mario toy that jumps, or an acrobatic little Goomba, a pullback Luigi, or a hopping Koopa Paratroopa. One toy with each Happy Meal you buy.
Mario even had a live-action movie, which was a disappointment to many fans. Why all the fuss? One simple word: fun. Playing through Super Mario Bros. Again was the nostalgic overload. Super Mario Bros. Set many standards for years to come in all areas, including gameplay, graphics, music, sound effects, level design, and secrets. I still have a recollection of my friend showing me that you could break the bricks at the top of the screen. At first I didn't see the point, but thought it was cool. Then came the unthinkable, warp zones. This was not just a video game, it was an adventure, more than any other video game that I ever played. At the time, I was a big fan of Pitfall in the Atari 2600 and didn't think that it would get better than that. And boy was I wrong. Super Mario Bros. Is a platformer, and although it's not the first, it is largely credited with perfecting the side-scroller. A platformer being any game that requires lots of jumping, from platform to platform. The success of Super Mario Bros. Started a revolution that everyone was trying to copy, and Mario didn't really see much competition until the Sega Genesis and Sonic the Hedgehog, which I reviewed last episode. You use the A button to make Mario jump, and hold the B button to make him run. Pressing back on the D-pad while running will make Mario stop, but not before the momentum keeps him moving a few steps. The A button will also make him swim while underwater. In my opinion, the control is flawless. The game has Mario running through a variety of worlds, and each world has 4 levels, with the last being in Bowser's Castle. Mario's goal is to complete each stage by grabbing the flagpole at the end of the level, or defeating Bowser in his castle. The worlds are scattered with coins and breakable bricks, as well as enemies. And most enemies can be defeated by jumping on their heads, which is Mario's main form of attack, or hitting the block under them. Collecting 100 coins earns Mario 1-up, which translates to an extra life. Now, most levels are fairly easy to complete, but for some reason I've always had a hard time with the water levels, as well as several of Bowser's Castle levels. Now, this game should be played by all gamers, young or old. The older gamers know of its greatness, but for the younger players, you have to look past the outdated graphics and sound, and here you'll find a game that still holds up well to newer games, like Super Mario Bros. On the Wii and the DS. Now, I know this is only my second episode, and I've already given Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Genesis a 5 out of 5, but anyone that has played this game would know its greatness, and that it also deserves a 5 out of 5. Thanks for watching, and keep playing the classics.